Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. Welcome, everyone. My name is Kevin.
My name is Ryan. And just a heads up, Kevin, we have a theme song. It's playing right now. It's playing right now.
Yeah, I just wanted to celebrate this movie because it's so great. It's the best movie that we've ever watched on the podcast.
Ever.
Yeah, I think it's, we have to really give it the time and the title and the celebration.
Our fingers are not crossed.
Yeah.
I mean every word.
Exactly. So today on Wine, Reel, and Print, happy to present Waterworld from director Kevin Reynolds. Easily the Citizen Kane of our time.
Oh, easily. Yeah. Obviously you can tell that this movie was ahead of its time for one.
For sure.
It did, its storytelling prowess is untouched.
Yeah, unrivaled.
One of the few movies that when you look back at the Oscars and everything like that, there's so many times you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this didn't win.
Right.
This didn't sweep the Oscars.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Talk about just the worst travesty of all time. Worse than war, worse than poverty, is that Waterworld didn't win every Oscar.
Yeah, unfortunately. It was nominated, though.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Someone had the sense to
keep
at least put it up there.
In mind, yeah.
Okay, I don't know how to pull out of this. So I'm
This is not an act.
No.
We're not reading from a script. We are actually.
I'm hitting the red button, Kevin. I'm hitting the red button. I'm getting us out.
Ejector seat.
Ejector. Waterworld is bad. Waterworld is bad. Now I'm coming in.
You can't lie.
I can't. My
episode.
Jiminy Cricket is acting up, as my family would say growing up. This film was nominated for
Best
Sound, which is funny. I don't get it. Sure, why not? I think there were some parts where it was kind of loud.
Right.
I don't remember the sound being very inventive.
The sound definitely wasn't the best part of this movie.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
No. It was the gills.
Yeah.
The webbed toes. That's what I liked.
I thought it was Kevin Costner's accent. That was the best part for me.
Oh God. Okay. Let's start at the beginning. Okay. When I started watching
Jesus.
Wow, that's the beginning. That's the beginning? That's where the story starts.
The beginning for me. Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk about that later. But so Jesus did his whole thing, and then we get Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Modern day Jesus.
Exactly.
This movie at the start feels like a Disney movie.
Yeah.
It has this production quality. It's kind of big. It's bombastic.
Yeah.
It felt like it was leaning into the kind of...
fantastical.
Yeah, very fantastical. Very
fun.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah.
It seemed fun. And then it immediately was not fun.
Yeah.
A guy just died. He sentenced a guy to death for stealing some lemons from his tree or whatever it was.
Right.
And it was just that's how we're starting this movie, huh? It's just this all of a sudden, just road justice sort of thing.
He's a complicated guy.
Right? Yeah. And it feels like, wow, what? It was just like a gut punch to start the movie off. It's okay, this is your character that we want you to like now.
Right.
Is that they're just and obviously, I think we'll get to this more. This movie is trying to be Mad Max, but water.
Right.
But wet.
But water.
Yep. Wet Mad Max. And
that's
so that's what they're going for. But you'll kind of come to realize a lot of the things we'll talk about, Mad Max does not do.
You're right.
Mad Max knows the stories to tell, the kind of characters that make sense and matter.
Right. It's so funny how being a Mad Max ripoff is the texture of the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so funny, it's just parroting this film.
Yeah.
Or trying to be what that thing
There's an interesting the Tim Burton Batman movies. You've got Batman and Batman Returns.
Okay.
He had plans to make a third one, but because Batman Returns was so dark, and the story is that they couldn't sell the toys at McDonald's because they were so dark and not so fun and nice, that they brought in, did the third kind of in the trilogy of at least this style. And I guess there's actually 4 of them kind of in this style of, they made it really goofy in the next one. And that's the Val Kilmer one.
Nice.
And then they do a George Clooney, the Batman and Robin one.
Right.
Which is also crazy goofy. But those ones take the Tim Burton aesthetic and then just like bastardize it.
Yeah.
Like completely not knowing what makes those things good.
Right.
And I think watching this movie makes you really appreciate that Mad Max has a visionary behind it.
Yeah.
That knows what they're doing and has intentionality.
Right.
This felt like a vehicle to make money.
Yep.
And for Kevin Costner to be a giant like superhero celebrity, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
if AI existed, they just run this thing through it. And
exactly.
Make it.
Exactly. This is like, you talk about like AI movies. Like this feels just so generic, and AI is so good at just replicating what has come before, but a little worse.
Yeah.
Just like slightly off.
Like a 3-star version of like a really good movie.
Yep.
But you get the like satisfaction of seeing something similar to what you already saw. Yeah.
And for a lot of people, that's enough.
Yeah.
You know?
In a different world, this could have been good. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I
feel like it had the ingredients, right?
It definitely had the ingredients of like a Mad Max and Avatar as well.
For
like,
sure.
It definitely, Avatar Way of Water feels...
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah. And I actually didn't finish Avatar Way of Water.
Yeah.
But that movie... Still, James Cameron does have like
he has a voice.
Something. Yeah, he has a voice. He has intentionality.
Like we're lucky we have auteurs in the Hollywood
that make
space.
It up there.
Yeah, like we could have a bunch of Marvel movies forever. Like that would be fucking awful. Yeah. But yeah, it's nice having someone who can do that. And that's why it's like, oh man, I just wish there was maybe a different actor involved or a different director who could helm it. Like in a different, like this story is like something you think about, I feel like a lot.
Totally.
In terms of where this world could go, and amphibious people like definitely thought about that, you know, like in a future where that book you have and of like
yes,
like evolving humans and stuff.
Yes, after man.
Yeah. It's like thinking about these things are cool, and I feel like this movie's trying to be a Western in a lot of the characterizations and stuff like that. But like I think so much of this movie is just trying to do something and then doing it badly. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not going full, like they went full hog, you could say. Whoa, slow down there. On like all the wrong things, it felt like. They decided to kind of double down on different aspects, and it felt like those aren't the things to double down on.
Right. Like not understanding drama or storytelling.
Or just making Kevin Costner just really unlikable. Like so unlikable for so long in the movie. That it just is such a bummer to be around him. I really just don't enjoy it.
And then that last montage where Enola's talking about him, and she's like, he's dangerous and he doesn't care and he'll kill you, and it's like, what is this? And he's like walking back to the thing. It's like so ridiculous. Like it felt like a student film with the Hollywood budget.
Yes.
Sorry.
No. I mean, it had it was written by adults that wanted to make a movie, and where is credit due? Well, it's due in the set design. I think that at least there was a lot of work put into it, and CGI doesn't play into all the sets as much as one like this movie today would be. It would be shot so different today. It would be all of these things. I think they were also probably very limited in like what they could do by having physical sets, which I think is great in a lot of ways. But they just had like so many. I mean, that's the part I like the most is like, okay, they went all in there. It's inventive. It's interesting.
The world is cool.
There is like a cool thing. I think I did cringe with the gills when that came up, and the webbed toes never worked. Like the way they showed it, like it was just kind of like it. They almost like weren't webbed enough. That it was just kind of like a. They just did this prosthetic really fast sort of thing just to get the shot. And then like you watch so many of the other shots, he doesn't have those webbed toes because they didn't want to put it on Kevin Costner every shot. So there's like, if you're really paying attention, you're like, oh, he's just got regular like human toes. And then when it's a close up, oh, there are the webs.
There it is.
They had to get the hero shot of the feet.
and it looks like
Yeah.
just like certain things look really great, and then other things are just like not.
Yeah.
The essential parts of the story feel like not addressed enough or whatever. But yeah, I definitely like the world building and that they dedicated themselves to all these sets and stuff. Because like, yeah, looking at like to build that today, they would never do that. So it is kind of nice to see this sort of movie being made.
Yeah.
At this time in the 90s and stuff.
Yeah, and then there was just so much about the world that felt like they did think about it. There were plenty of things that it felt like they did not think about it. But like, especially when it comes to like the ringed city or whatever that's floating.
Yeah.
Like that weird goop that they just throw people in. Like it was just like a thing just for like that scene and to have like an epic like sinking into it. Like it's just like weird stuff like that feels like why is this in the movie at all?
Yeah.
And that has like the Mad Max quality where you're watching Mad Max, you're like, this is so weird. Like there's so many weird things going on. It feels purposeful. And like there's a vision, but it almost feels like an alien made it in a way. And this does have that
in a
quality.
bad
It's
way.
a little bit of a copy paste of just like a photocopy of it.
Sure.
But it's like, oh, that's weird. That's interesting. Like, I like the idea that like land and sand is like a rare commodity. And people want that. That's cool. They could have leaned into that a little more, I guess. But it was about finding dry land, and then a kid has this tattooed on them. Which still feels
still weird.
And it felt interesting. Did you watch Furiosa?
Yep. Twice.
Furiosa like copied that. Like exactly.
Oh, with the tattoo thing.
Yeah, with the tattoo thing.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because George Miller has had this story idea forever.
Oh, yeah. No, and I think the way George Miller did it is way cooler.
Yeah.
And I also, even the George Miller thing, it has so much more potential than just like the tattoos on the body. Like, I was kind of hoping in Furiosa that they were going to use the arm as like a map to get there, but it's just kind of like forgotten about after she loses it.
I think he like something. Never mind.
Yeah. But you're saying that you read somewhere that he came up with this a bit before.
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of just giving. I feel like George Miller has had the idea for a little while, and like, just like the whole Furiosa, because he's had the Furiosa thing since Fury Road.
Yeah, because I think he wanted to make Furiosa first.
Yeah.
Before Fury Road even came out, and then but it
because
didn't
of
make sense. He kind of had to earn his way back.
Right.
With Fury Road, which is obviously an amazing movie.
One of the best action films.
I mean, it's just a car chase.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like a Nora.
Simple. Yeah.
There's a little bit of that. In that
like
movie.
the hecticness.
Yeah, it's just like it's almost just one thing the entire movie.
Right. And I feel like that's what is maybe missing from Waterworld is like some sense of direction, and like it has a lot of great ingredients, but it's never like leaning into any one of those pieces like fully.
Yeah.
Like the tattoo thing is like never fully realized, like as you mentioned, and like all these sorts of like side narratives that don't reach an ending, kind of, you know. Yeah, it just feels like kind of incomplete a lot of the times. And,
Yeah, it felt like a movie where Kevin Costner needed to die at the end. You know, like
does he die?
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
He just goes off into the sunset. Like it's over. Like I think he just decides to head back into the ocean and let the people live on land.
Damn.
And it was one of those things where it wanted to be so many different things, and it especially wanted to be an action movie.
Yeah.
And so you have like the on the boat and everything like that. You have just like this insane action scene. So many explosions, like so much shit blowing up.
Yeah.
And it just feels I mean, it feels like it's kind of bouncing between a bunch of different things. And Kevin Costner obviously just wants to be the biggest action star ever, and you can just tell that it had to be a certain way, and we could never. Like, it's like Steven Seagal whenever he does any work or anything like that. And there's this story about when I think Bob Odenkirk told this story about how on Saturday Night Live when Bob Odenkirk was there, Steve Seagal came in and he was one of those guys. Oh, and Vin Diesel is like this now too. They cannot lose.
Sure. They can't
have
look bad.
to win. They cannot look bad on screen. They have to win everything. And that's what this movie felt like, was like, oh,
He has to be cool.
he has to be cool. Like, it's so, and I just don't know. I don't think Kevin Costner's cool. I don't even think he looks cool.
He's not that cool.
He's not cool.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that thing. He's way too old for this role too, it feels like. He seems like an old man. And
guy.
yeah, and even like, and he was so much younger than he is now, but he seems the same age.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a weird, I don't know if it was a wig that was on
Vampire.
him. Yeah. There's something like, yeah, no, I do not vibe with
Cost.
Kev. Yeah. I think I remember liking Angels in the, no, A Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think I remember watching that in school.
Yeah.
But,
America.
yeah. Ooh, is Field of Dreams Bay Area? No,
I don't know.
No, it's like Midwest or something like that. I felt like
I
there
would
was
think
some,
it's a Midwest. There's no corn out here.
Yeah, true. I felt like there was some weird connection
Let me
to
look.
Field of Dreams with
Let me look.
something, but
Nope. Iowa.
Iowa.
Maybe there's like a Giants flare, but I don't think there was.
Oh yeah, it might have been a Giants thing.
I don't think so. I don't know if the Giants were in San Francisco yet, though.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It
Sports. Yeah.
Might even be an actor that was in it too.
Yeah. Well, I think the 90s are like to me, when we're talking about Kevin Costner in the 90s, it's like Dances with Wolves, right?
Yeah.
That's like his vibe. And yeah, I feel like you start to see around this era, he starts becoming more of a producer on his movies. So there, like you said, the sense of controlling his image, I feel like, is imperative to the movies he's picking and stuff like that. Yeah, he's a weird guy.
My first interaction with Waterworld was not watching it, but was going to, and I watched it for the first time a couple weeks ago. But was the Universal Studios Hollywood like live action experience.
Yeah. Still running as of 2024.
Yeah. So I remember that as being, that was what I always knew Waterworld kind of as. Was kind of this stunt show.
Yeah.
Way back when. And yeah, no, it is hilarious.
That's
that it's
so
still,
funny.
and there's no whispers of this coming back at all or anything like that, which is kind of surprising in a way. Is there something?
In 2021, they were trying to make a TV series, but I don't think it's ever been developed or anything.
Yeah, I feel like that's not, especially with the way streaming is going, I think those sorts of like...
I mean, if there was something to remake...
Yeah, I mean, properties go further than originals in the mind of producers and what they want to make.
Exactly.
But is this a property that anyone... cares about?
If the theme park ride is still popping, it's enough, I feel like, for them to say yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like if a director really has a vision with the storyline and really builds out a certain thing, I feel like there's room for it to exist. Because I think this is a really interesting story, and it can be applicable to today.
Yeah.
In terms of like themes and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It does feel like a Day After Tomorrow style thing.
For sure.
You could have leaned a little bit more into that.
I mean, even like Mad Max, like making it more Mad Max.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like genuinely, and even like an I Am Legend sort of situation, or like Book of Eli, like having this kind of adventure quality to it instead of this like weird brooding like male anti-hero thing that
it's just
doesn't
like
work.
he's like forcing cool on us, and
like,
he's not. You're not cool, dude.
You're not John Wayne, bro.
Yeah, you're not. And every time you think like the movie knows that,
right,
it forces it on us again. Like, like threatening to kill the little kid for a while there, and
just like
and to have sex,
scenes.
to have sex with the woman as like punishment. Like there's it's just like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, weird shit.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh yeah, we need to show boobs.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like we had
just nudity.
To check. Yeah. We're gonna be rated R. So was it rated R or was it PG-13?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I have no idea, but it should say right. Nope, it doesn't say right here. But yeah, very interesting. Oh my god, it was based on a 1986 screenplay.
Yeah, it's been around. Yeah, it was like an idea that they've had for a while or something.
Dang, and this is who got it.
Yeah. So in the related section of the Wikipedia, there's this book, The Drowned World by J.G. Ballard. And I've read one of his books before, and I like he has like interesting kind of allegorical sci-fi-esque kind of things and that I think are cool, kind of like a Snowpiercer. In those veins.
Yeah.
And so he has a book about like global warming, post-global warming sort of thing, like underwater society and stuff.
And that came out pre-Waterworld.
Yeah, in the 60s.
Oh, in the 60s. Wow.
Yeah. So I feel like there's room to explore this sort of idea. Not so much Waterworld exact, but this idea of like, what does our world look like when we've destroyed it?
Totally. Yeah, or Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Or like, what is our spin on it today? This kind of idea.
Right.
Like, what is our, because you could get something really, like, I feel like there's a lot more interesting things about like our relationship to land.
Exactly.
And what happens when we rip that apart and things like that.
And I think we have more of me just echoing what you're saying, but because of our proximity to the end of the world, we have a better understanding or appreciation for those sorts of ideas, right? I guess you're just saying what you're saying, but I don't know. I think it is. Yeah, you bring. I don't know. Fuck it. I think it's a cool thing. I feel like it'd be interesting to go back into it as a creative person.
Yes. Yeah, I think there is some interesting potential for sure.
Because what are themes that you think of when you embrace this world?
Yeah, if I were to kind of remove this film from it and think of it as a vehicle to,
because you're a big nature guy.
Yeah, I'm a nature guy. I'm a nature guy. Yeah, I think, like I said, like there's something about, killing every animal on the planet.
Yeah,
like that's insane. Like there's something there. Like I feel like there's more of a interesting relationship with like the plant than anything. Like this is like there isn't soil, so this plant is so important, and it's kind of just like the
value.
Yeah, it's just kind of like something
thrown
else
away.
on the thing. Yeah, exactly. It's not as special as it could be. The map is what's special. Right. Dry land.
It could be the religion, right?
Yeah.
The plant thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that and I think Mad Max does a lot of these things. And I'm saying
with the water and Dune,
with the water and the apple and Dune and like these sorts of things. I think are interesting as like, okay, what is the one thing from that we have, or even like having an animal. Like having like, what does a zoo in Waterworld look like? Like what does an animal sanctuary look like? What are we talking about here?
How does this shape our culture and belief?
Yeah. I think that's what interests me, is almost kind of like the nightmare ramifications and echoes that would come from it. I think is more interesting. It's just stripping away. Humans don't belong in the water. Right. We do not at all.
Right. It's unnatural.
It's very unnatural. Yeah. I don't think the movie certainly didn't play that up too much.
Yeah.
So there's something very interesting about exploring that. And I think I would make a character that doesn't have magical or isn't like a mutant.
Yeah. That was weird.
Yeah. Like you don't need that. Like they're more amazing if they don't have powers.
Making me think of Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Like they were trying to maybe do Blade Runner.
Yeah.
In a weird way too.
Yeah.
Ooh, kitty.
There's a kitty outside.
Meow.
To go on a
different tangent.
On a different one, Dennis Hopper.
He was great. He was probably my favorite part of the movie.
He had a direction he was going to go. That's the campiness that I think the whole thing needed, even though the lines as written were so bad. Yeah. Like they were so like
bad on purpose.
Oh, it was just like, and it wasn't even like funny bad. It was just like, like it felt like they didn't know how bad the lines were. And I was just like, oh God, I wish I could remember some examples, but every time I was like, oh, this is Dennis Hopper's scene to really do something. It was like, oh, he just said that. Yeah. But he said it loud.
Yeah. Cause it's a misunderstanding of Mad Max. Like not understanding what that character is supposed to do and say and whatever. And so they just kind of parody that in something that's like fucked up. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, no, he's got a cool eye patch going on situation. They got some comedy going on with his glass eye. And
Yeah.
they do weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's when it felt really Disney, right? Was
Right.
kind of like these scenes of like, oh,
Goofy.
Captain Hook and his people all around him and all of these things. And I think they could have pulled more from those sorts of things.
Sure.
And made it more interesting, and maybe have it maybe even more of a Peter Pan angle would be more interesting on Waterworld than Mad Max.
Right. Yeah, either I think at the end of the day, just needed to pick a lane.
Yes, that's what they needed.
Yeah.
They just needed to pick a lane.
Yeah.
They did pick a lane. Kevin Costner. That's the lane they picked. And that, I feel like,
the worst
when a
lane
movie just picks an actor, that's what
Yeah.
it feels like with Vin Diesel, right?
Right.
It's just like, it's
just whatever they want to do. Or Tom Cruise.
Yeah, or Dwayne The Rock Johnson, too. Is just like, I mean, we in a lot of ways, we are moving beyond the classic kind of star power. And it's much more.
It's too much star power.
Yeah, it's character power more than anything now. It's like a Captain America movie. It's this sort of thing. It's property driven.
Sure.
Now.
And yeah, the most highest employed actors. Well, highest employed actors are like character actors now. Yeah.
Yeah, which makes sense, especially in this era.
Or brand influencers. Yeah. Except for Emma Stone, she's great.
She is great.
Yeah.
I love Emma.
She produced A Real Pain.
I saw, yes.
pretty
and I respect that. I respect
Incredible.
that.
Yeah.
Some interesting other connections. Jack Black is in this movie for a second.
Get the fuck out.
Yep.
What?
As
Where?
a smoker plane pilot. He's in the plane. I think it's the one that gets
shot down.
Yeah, gets shot down or has the guy like harpooned in it, I think.
Oh.
But
Smokers!
and then Tina Majorina, who plays the little girl. She's
in a movie.
She's in Napoleon Dynamite as kind of the love interest. She also, I got to meet her one time. We have the same birthday.
What?
I mean, not the year. The year isn't the same, but February
the day.
7th. Yep.
That's funny.
Yeah. So me and Tina represent. I got a photo of me with her.
You were destined to remake Waterworld.
Yes, exactly. With Tina.
Yeah.
As the
new character grown up. Yeah. Hey. Write that.
Write that. But that's kind of, I mean, it's like on land now. They're on dry land by the end.
Are they?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's how it ends.
You can rewrite it.
Yeah, I guess.
Doesn't matter.
I can do whatever the fuck.
Yeah, exactly. They fucked it up still again.
They did. Yeah.
Humans are not impervious.
Yes, they burnt the whole thing down.
Yeah, exactly.
The horses took over.
The seahorses.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
Mad Max 2 DP was the DP on this film.
Weird.
Yeah, just like weird ties back to. It's like this movie was just like an almost there kind of a thing.
Yeah, and I feel like someone knew like what they were making and decided like, okay, we need Mad Max. We're making a Mad Max X. That was probably how they pitched it, was Mad Max with water or whatever. Right. So it probably was very easy to be like, okay,
we'll get this
guy knows how to do it. That's how we sell this movie too. Because I mean, once again, they're trying to sell the most expensive movie of all time. Like that's what they're pitching. It's like, this movie deserves to be the most expensive movie ever made, which is insane. This is what got made. $175 million.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
And now that's kind of like, I think that's kind of like nothing in a lot of. I mean, we're talking like $300 million movies nowadays. In some cases.
And now we have Marvel movies,
Yeah, it's just ballooning.
Yeah.
And eventually it crashes. But, I mean, I do think we live in a different age where I think crashes are different. They're harder. Like, I don't know if they really have the effect.
Yeah. Huh? We're mid-crash right now.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, because they just can't.
The streaming machine.
The streaming machine undercut a lot of stuff, which basically just changed how people interact with media in general.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to course correct.
Yeah.
And they want the cake and they want to eat it too.
Yep.
So they still want streaming, even though it's bad for them in almost every way.
Yeah.
But
well, they just haven't figured out what Netflix is, but then
yeah. Now it's becoming live events.
Yeah.
And that
and
feels
video
like,
games.
Yep. And now it's just going to become another cable channel with Waterworld. Waterworld.
Pew 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 pew.
Waterworld.
Okay. 1950s steampunk Waterworld.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, I think of there's a video game called BioShock.
Yeah.
That is really cool that I love, and that's a city
steampunk.
underwater
Oh, okay.
called Rapture.
Rapture.
And that's got really cool stuff going on. It does a really good job.
Yeah.
And that's like 1920s Art Deco.
Sure.
This really rich guy built a city underwater.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool premise. And so,
Yeah.
better than Waterworld.
Yeah, you bring up Disney. Like, this does what Pirates of the Caribbean, like, succeeded at.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Yes.
In terms of building theme park attraction into, like, a really good movie.
And knowing
think
the right tone.
Disney just does that really good. Yeah,
They
just
know
well in
exactly
general,
what.
yeah.
Yes, they have a lane.
Yeah.
And they almost always are just sticking in it.
Yeah.
And
to a detriment sometimes.
Exactly. And so Pirates of the Caribbean knew exactly what movie it was making.
Right.
Jerry Bruckheimer has a mode of production. Like
Right.
there's a way he makes movies. There are movies that he likes. Gore Verbinski, I think, was the director of
Yeah.
Pirates.
At some point, yeah.
Yeah, same thing too. Like we're
He
talking
did
about.
Rango.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
And so and it's a great example because it also deals with water.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
that's what I kind of mean. Yeah.
exactly,
It's like using similar aesthetics and stuff, but like just way better. And,
Yeah. And one day we're going to do an episode, folks, on like early 2000s blockbusters, because I think there's very interesting. Pirates of the Caribbean sits in that really interesting spot.
And this may be a good intro into that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like how was the shrink happening immediately after Waterworld?
Right.
Because like how many blockbusters are there that
Fighting
are coming
for-
after that movie? What are the budgets looking like? And how do we get ourselves back up to basically where the next chapter I would say begins is with Iron Man in 2008.
Yep.
And the Marvel machine officially
In Dark Knight.
Yeah. Oh, in Dark Knight, same year.
Yeah.
Those superhero machines now going full steam ahead.
Yep.
With a little heat up with Spider-Man and
Full
X-Men.
stream ahead.
Dum.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's all good. The streaming comes later.
But I feel like it plays hand in hand in terms of like changing the relationship with media. Like I feel like Marvel changed a lot of that too.
Yeah.
For how we understand the audience and stuff. Like it needs to be an event thing. It needs to be serialized. It needs to be simple to understand. Like I don't know. I feel like it all plays back into itself eventually.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's Waterworld. Is there anything more you want to add? There might be more.
No. I don't know. Not off the top of my head. It's just like really funky and weird, and I wish it was better.
I know, and that's always hard.
Yeah.
And we'll
But
need
it is
to.
what it is. But I will say someone recommended this to me.
Oh,
I think at
earnestly.
work. Just like with the caveat of it being really bad, but it's cool that it's doing this idea and like you can kind of watch it.
Yeah.
I forget who exactly. It was either Ryan or Jonathan. I forget. I think maybe it was Jonathan from that 101 shoot.
Yo, yeah.
I forget. But anyways, thank you for bringing this to light and helping us.
Yeah, I'm
learn
happy we
about
went there. I'm happy we have now
Waterworld.
seen it, and hopefully we'll also one of these days watch the biggest box office blunders
Bombs,
as
yeah.
well, box office bombs.
Yeah.
Even though this movie technically made it, it was just just over
Broke
two.
even, yeah.
It just kind of broke even,
Which
which is still
fail.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On Letterboxd they added a list of top whatever box office movies.
Oh, really?
Like as a little thing. So
Oh, okay, cool.
yeah, it's definitely a topic we should go into and explore, because I think
love
that's
it.
interesting, especially when it comes to the blockbuster genre or production mode or whatever.
It is a very interesting. I think we talk about money's influence on things, and this is a clear example. This
Right.
is we are looking to make some money, and
Right.
a lot of it.
And how does that affect the creativity process?
Yeah.
I think that's super interesting.
Yeah.
At the highest level, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
Pedestaled. I don't know. I kind of don't like Hollywood. I don't know. The more we interact with this podcast, the more I'm like, man, fuck these guys.
Yeah.
They don't know what the fuck they're
Yeah.
doing.
I mean, if we care about art, I
Yeah.
know it sucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like, how do you feel about, I don't know, just a
Sure. Yeah.
prologue or epilogue or whatever. How do you feel about like Wicked and Gladiator 2, since those are like on the consciousness?
Yes, we're recording this back when those came out. So when this drops, but
Right.
I mean, they seem like obviously it feels a little too much like trying to be Barbenheimer, which was much more organic.
Sure.
So there's like this. There definitely is like a movement to watch both.
Right.
But in terms of like, Wicked, Gladiator 2, I don't have like Wicked. I'm interested in watching both of the movies when they come out.
Sure.
And watching it as a whole instead of like getting teased at the end for another movie. I'm not really interested in that.
Right. And so I guess maybe a better question is like, how do you feel about, do you ever feel excited by Hollywood movies or blockbusters in general? Like, is there any time like there's a movie out where you're like, this seems like something up my alley, like traditionally Hollywood and blockbuster?
Not anymore. There's not really anything that they do anymore that I really feel like I'm down for that.
Right.
I think that Star Wars kind of like fizzling out there was kind of like the nail in the coffin for me a little bit, of just being like, you know what? I'm kind of over a lot of this stuff. Marvel movies, they kind of fizzled out after the Infinity Saga was over.
Yeah.
I've just been like, you know what? It doesn't feel like they're offering much to me.
Sure.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I feel like, because now you have that side of Hollywood. I don't know. Maybe this is a good podcast episode, because I feel like, I don't know, what does like Killers of the Flower Moon land in terms of the scale, or like a megalopolis, or like Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Like, where do these films land in that scale, and like, does that still apply to these sorts of time, thinking and stuff?
That's a good question, and maybe it's
these
a little
$200 million movies.
Yeah, maybe it's a little
crazy.
Meta for me to be like, oh, I'm more thinking about it in terms of like properties.
Right. But these are all properties.
Yes, I know, and there's a big budget. If it's just big budget movies,
right?
Certainly, there are a lot of big budget movies I'd be excited about.
Right.
Because I think that opens the avenue for a lot of different things.
Right.
And I'm super down for that. I guess it's like the June and July movie season.
Yeah. That
maybe is a little less so.
Makes you want to puke.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, that's not really that's just not what I'm looking for.
Sure. Yeah, when it's like Trolls 3 and like fucking Despicable 5.
Yeah. But I think a big budget in a perfect world, in a vacuum.
Yeah.
Has so much amazing potential, and you can do things that you just can't do in a small movie, and that's when you need to take advantage of it instead of just using it all towards big actors,
right? Or
like a lot of CGI,
right?
What if you moved it in a lot of different? I mean, you
like
could
Wes
just
Anderson stuff.
Yes, exactly. You can stretch it, and I think it takes an auteur. It takes someone with a very serious vision, a Martin Scorsese, a Wes Anderson, those sorts of people to be like, okay, and then to be trusted, and even a Christopher Nolan. I still applaud the man for making Christopher Nolan movies.
For sure. I mean, he sticks by his guns.
He sticks by his guns, and I will always appreciate that.
Yeah, that's That's like a valid.
Yeah,
thing.
It's super. That's something you can't argue with, and his appreciation for the film medium and theaters.
And every filmmaker wishes they had what Nolan has.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not. I feel like any criticism on him is rooted in jealousy. Because he's doing what he wants, and
that's what
$200
everyone
million.
Wants. Yes, exactly. Yeah, not a lot of people get that opportunity.
Yeah.
You have to really...
Like top 0.05%.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So, I think that's a great closing point.
Great...
Unless you have more.
No. Waterworld.
Yeah.
Go watch it. and now we're going back for the end. We're going back. You ready? The greatest movie ever made. Go see it. Watch it 10 times. We are trying to make its money back tenfold.
Exactly.
We're starting a movement. Watch Waterworld.
Go to Universal Studios.
Go there.
Buy the merch.
Go on the ride 10 times. Don't stop.
Biggest Oscar snub of all time?
Yes.
Potentially.
Yes. Wear the shirts. We've got merch. Save Waterworld.
Kevin Costner action figures.
Yeah. re-release Waterworld.
Ryan's working on the next script.
Yes, exactly. It's happening, you guys. It's the dream, and we'll see you there. That's a wrap.
Closed out. Oh man, I'm hungry.
Wind, Reel, and Print is a podcast by Salad Brain Productions. You can find us online on Instagram at Wind, Reel, and Print Pod. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts. And please, if you like the show, leave a rating and review. We'll see you next time.